Good afternoon, dear teachers and students. Welcome to participate in the online keynote speech and sharing activity. I am the host. My name is Laura, the advisor of 2018 batch. Today's topic of the presentation is Life is Worth Living. Please allow me to introduce today's presenter, Mr. Ehsan. His Chinese name is Gao Hongbo. Now let's welcome him.
Thank you. So can I start?
Yes.
Thank you, the participants, for joining this session. And now I'm going to start. Before that, I need to check the connection. Today, we are going to discuss about this topic, like life is worth living. And the thing is why we need to discuss about it, why we need to identify that whether life is worth living or not. So we found that there are some questions associated with this topic, and we need to address those questions. And this is the reason we chose this topic, that we need to discuss about life is worth living. So let's see. The first one is is that true that life is full of pain and suffering? For me, yes, it is true. Because, my neighbor, he has fancy cars, and he has all the comforts which is needed for a human being. His house is well decorated, and his son and his daughter, all his children, is doing well in the exam. Whereas what I am doing, I don't have money. I'm suffering to pay my bill every month. And my boss, he's scolding me in every single day without any reason. And that is why I think that life is full of pain and suffering. But still I'm exist. And still I live in this world. So what I can do to minimize my pain? Let's see. Oh no. It seems that there is no way to escape. Don't even try to avoid the pain. Are you serious? Why? I want to avoid my pain. Okay, let me tell you the story of my friend. There is a connection problem actually. It's okay. I have one friend. The slide is not removed. Yes, okay. I need to use the mouse. Okay. So sorry for this interruption actually. I'm not that techie person, so that I made a mistake. It's okay. So let me tell you that I have one friend. His name is Carlos Boschi. He was a writer, and he used to write different things about life and about all other things. And he sent all his drafts to different publishing houses, different newsletter houses, and all the write-ups written by him has been rejected. Why? Because the publisher thought that the write-up is not worthy for themselves. The reader will not going to get anything out of it. That's because his write-up was not been published in any newsletter or any book. So he gave up. When he almost out of his hope, that time he got a break. When he is 50 years old, one of the publishers called him and told him that write a book for me. And at that time he was completely helpless. He was out of his hope, and he thought that I have nothing to prove myself. So he wrote a book. And whenever it comes to dedicate the book to someone, he wrote that dedicated to no one. So he doesn't have the burden to prove himself. So that he wrote the actual thing, what comes into from his heart. And the book got the best-selling book. And now he's not a loser anymore. Now he's a very successful person. But still, he's living the same life what he used to live before. Why? When he is asked by this question, he said that my success comes from my failure. If I don't admit my failure, then I will not be successful. So that I'm living the same life what I lived before. I don't care that whether people think that I'm successful or not. It's what I am. So from that, we can get the message that we have to be what we are. Just be what you are. Why? Because a confident man, he doesn't have to prove anything. If you're confident, then you don't need to stand in front of the mirror and tell repeatedly that I am the man, I am the man. Because you know you are confident. A rich woman, he doesn't need to prove anything that he is rich. Do Bill Gates needs to buy fancy cars to prove everyone that he has money? Do Jack Ma, he needs to do the same thing? No. Why? Because they're already rich. Everyone knows about it. And the world is constantly telling you that life is all about more. Eat more, buy more, read more, get good marks. It's more and more. So our brain has been conditioned by this more factor. We always want to get the more. But if you want to grab everything, then what you are grabbing? Maybe you are grabbing nothing. In economics, there is a saying that our resource is always limited. And to utilize that resource, we have to balance. How you will balance? You will balance by following the economic theories. The same thing applies in our life. And if you are thinking that you need to grab everything, maybe you are making enemies who lives only into your brain, not in the real world. Okay, give me one example. I'm giving one example. What is that? For example, you're working for someone. You're an employee in an organization. And after a few days, a new person, a fresher joined, who will perform the same role what you are performing. At that time, you are thinking that he's your enemy. Why? Because you have to prove yourself better than him so that your supervisor will admire you, will give you a pat in your back. But it's your thinking. You are thinking that he's your enemy. But maybe he's not thinking in the same way what you are thinking. Maybe he's a benevolent and kind person. Maybe he has something to offer you. But you are not going to take it because you have already believed that he's your enemy. And that enemy only lives into your brain, not in the real world. There's a saying which is simplicity boils down in two different things. Number one, identify the essentials, and number two, eliminate the rest. So what we need to identify? The Chinese business tycoon Jack Ma once said that we all are human beings. We have to sit in a chair. We have to lay down in a bed. We cannot do more than this. We cannot take our meal more than 3 times in a day. Because we are human being, and our needs are always limited. So if you have $100,000, then you are rich. But if you have $1 million, then you're super rich. And that money, you don't know how to utilize it. Because your body and your mental ability has a limitation. So that money belongs to people. And you have to decide that what kind of purpose you are going to serve by using your money. And the rest, number one, just now we discussed about number one, identify the essentials. We know the essentials. We have to eat, we have to sit, we have to study, and we have to sleep. This is the essentials. And what is the rest? The rest is everything. Everything we think that are important for us. We have to eliminate this. So the power of elimination is really important. Whatever you are doing may have some adverse effect. What kind of adverse effect it has? Let's see. If you are trying to grab everything, then maybe you are grabbing nothing, as I have said before. So human brain, it has the power to think about your thinking. Maybe you're feeling guilty for something and you don't know how to forgive yourself, and that feeling is make you more guilty, and gradually that is affecting your entire body. Learn to forgive yourself. If you don't know how to forgive yourself, then your entire life will be traumatic and melancholious. A story about my friend who recently decided to get a puppy. She thought that she will be a good puppy mother, and she was so excited. When she bought a puppy, after a few days, she realized that it is not possible for her to be a good mother of a puppy. Why? Because the puppy wants to shit on her bed, and she will not going to allow it, definitely. How she will sleep if the puppy do it in her bed? Then she decide, I cannot be the cup of everyone's tea. If you are intent to satisfy everyone, then you cannot satisfy everyone. You have to satisfy yourself first, and you have to identify the real need so that you know that how you can live your life. You have multiple personality. Whenever you are friend, you are friendly. Whenever you are mingling with your friend, you are friendly. Whenever you are working for someone as an employee, you are responsible. And whenever you are seeing something wrong is happening, that time you must have to be brutal or rude. Otherwise, you are not the person you are. You are just everyone's cup of tea, what you don't want to be. And if still you think that you will grab everything, then you are making a conflict between your thinking brain and your feeling brain. So what is actually thinking brain and what is actually feeling brain? You don't know? Let me tell you. Your thinking brain is something which is very rational, which has logic, but your feeling brain, it only listens to your hearts. The thought is coming from your heart is your feeling brain, and the thought you are so rational and judgmental is your thinking brain. So the thinking brain and feeling brain, they have different roles. For example, you love to eat sweets, but you are a diabetic patient, but still you want to eat it because your feeling brain is commanding you to eat that. And why you are not eating that? Because your thinking brain is restricting you that if you eat that, then you might get sick. So people usually encourage others to listen to their heart so that we can enlarge the era of our feeling brain. We let our feeling brain work well. But now if you are thinking that your feeling brain is bad, then definitely you are wrong. Why you are wrong? Okay, your thinking brain and feeling brain usually don't talk to each other. But it's not that they have a quarrel between each other. It's you who have to decide. It's you who have to allow them so that they could talk each other and you could balance. Does it ever happen to you that you fall in love with someone and after that you came to know that she or he has no interest to you, and after that you decided, okay, as he has or she has no interest to me, then I will not think about her. But is that possible to stop thinking about him or her? Whenever you decided that I will not think about her, that time your entire thinking has been floated by his or her thinking. You cannot stop the thinking. You cannot study well. You cannot do things well. You cannot talk well. Everything seems so pressured and stressed to you. Why it happens? Because you stopped the activity of your feeling brain. When you fall in love, your feeling brain, you gave enough space to your feeling brain. But when you saw that he has or she has no interest to you, that time your feeling brain activity, you stopped. You only started hearing your thinking brain. So now your feeling brain and thinking brain is working completely differently, and that thing is making you feel stressed. But if you allow your feeling brain that, okay, let's accept the pain, though she or he doesn't have any interest to me, but it's okay. I loved her or I loved him, but I have the capacity to accept the pain. That time you're allowing your feeling brain on board so that your thinking brain has the ability to convince your feeling brain why you need to stop. And your thinking brain has the power to influence your feeling brain only if you allow it. So it's not that your thinking brain is good or your feeling brain is good. It's both. You have to deal with them well. And you can be misguided if your thinking brain and feeling brain is not well balanced. If your thinking brain is not educated enough, it is not rational enough, then you will do everything, whatever you are feeling. You can do drug, or you can be an alcoholic person, and you can be a hijacker, everything, because you don't have any thinking brain. Your thinking brain is not commanding you well. You don't know how to distinguish between right and wrong. So that if you don't want to be misguided, then you must have to balance these two between your thinking brain and your feeling brain. It's not you who has the pain. We always used to think that our life is so painful. We always think that we are alone and no one actually cares about our feeling and everything. So have you ever visited an online shopping site where you can see that we have some frequently asked questions, FAQ. And this frequently asked questions prevails in our life as well. For example, whenever you are visiting in an online shopping site, that time you can see that you can in the list of frequently asked questions, that what is the price of that product, how can I get it, and what is the maximum days to reach it in our door. And the same things happens in our life, so that we feel that our life is so painful, we are ignored, our emotions is not being entertained by others. Have you ever touched a very hot bowl, and after touching that, what you felt? You immediately detached your hand. Why? Because your brain commanded you, no, don't touch it. If you keep touching that, your hand will be burned. So that you stopped touching that bowl. Whenever your friends is not replying your text, what do you feel? You feel that you have been ignored by them, and you don't want to be ignored by anyone. That makes you feel so bad. Oh my God, why? Why you are doing this? Why you are not replying my texts? But did you ever try to realize that what they are going through actually? Where are they now? And what kind of things they're dealing with? So if you don't know, then I must need to say that actually you are a self-centered person. You only want to get from your life, whereas you don't know the art of sacrifice. You don't want to give anything, but life is reciprocal. If you give, then if you get. So, okay, wait, I can't see any difference into you. I don't think that you are special. Maybe you are overestimating yourself. How? Okay. Because our emotions, the emotions are overrated. We always used to overrate our emotion. I don't want to mention the thing like whenever you have been scolded by your supervisor and you found that he scolded you without any reason. It's not like that. Or the thing is, these are actually your negative emotions. Your negative emotions are calls for your action, like which you haven't addressed well. You haven't dealt well. And what is your positive emotions? Positive emotions is actually that whenever you dealt a problem very well, whenever you think about your positive emotions, you feel relaxed, you feel rewarded, and life seems easy and simple. If you cannot solve your problem well, you cannot be happy. Remember, pain serves a purpose. You have to identify the purpose of your pain. Once you can solve it, then life will be easy. And your life will full of positive emotions. But my friend, I know what you're thinking now. Maybe you're thinking we have to live with our positive emotion only. No. Why? Because when positive thinking and negative thinking is like the same thing what I have mentioned that in the section of feeling brain and thinking brain. Emotions, what you are thinking, that what makes you feel good, it doesn't mean that it is good emotion. And that emotion, what you make feel worse, it doesn't mean that it is bad emotion. Remember that the person you marry is the person you fight with. The house you buy is the house you repair. And the dream job you take is the job you stress over. And you are the person what you believe. Okay, so there is a person called Henry Ford, the American successful businessman. Once he said, whatever you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. So basically, what he wants to say, that if you're thinking that you can do this, then you are right. And if you're thinking that you cannot do this, then you're also right. You have been directed by your own thinking. Have you ever heard about this 4-minute mile barrier? Motivational speakers usually used to cite this. Let me tell you, until 1954, people used to believe that we cannot run a mile within 4 minutes. Why? Because no one ever did this. And researchers, they also developed a theory on it. Because we are human beings. Our nervous system, our body nerves are too small to run a mile within 4 minutes. So no one ever tried it. Okay, I will run a mile within 4.1 minutes, but I will not going to try it within 4 minutes. If I try, then I may got hurt, I may got injured. So it's okay. No one broke the barrier. But one person called Roger Bannister, he's from Britain, he took the initiative and he said, okay, I'm going to break it. Everyone said, no, don't even try. Why? Because if you try, you'll hurt yourself. And he will say, no, I will do it. So in 1954, he ran a mile within 3.59 minutes. And at the very year, 27% broke the rule and they reached the milestone. And in the following year, 250% broke the rule. But why? Why before Roger Bannister, people used to fail always? Because they believed it, that we cannot do it. Let me tell you another story, which also kind of imitate this story. This story is my own story. I have one friend. He's so strong, and he has fleshy muscles. And most of you are from Zhengzhou University, so you may visited the field near to our Songyang International Dormitory. On that field, there is a tire, and that tire is so heavy. We cannot lift it. So when I saw that my Chinese friend, he's lifting it and who has fleshy muscles, I believed that it can be lifted by the person who usually hit the gym and who has fleshy muscles, who are so strong, and I'm not that strong. So I cannot do it. So I tried to lift it, but the tire remained unmoved. Okay. Then after a few days, a friend, he's actually my countrymate, and he's so thin and skinny. He said, okay, brother, I'm going to lift it. What are you going to give me if I lift the tire? I said, you cannot do that. He said, okay, let me try. What are you going to give me? I said, whatever you want. I'm ready to give you everything. Because I was so sure that he cannot do it. He said, no. Okay, give me only 50 yuan. And if I lift it, if you fail to lift it, then what are you going to give me? He said, I will offer you a boiled egg. I said, okay. Because I'm going to win. Whatever he's telling, I need to accept his statement. But at the following moment, he lifted this tire. And my mind blown away. Oh my God. How come he can lift this tire? That tire is so heavy. And that tire can be only lifted by the person who is so strong. So at the same day, I also lifted that tire 5 times. Because why? Because that man who's so skinny, that man gives me the belief that even I can do that. So this is also called the 4-minute mile barrier thing. And is that ever happens in your life that you just checked your blood pressure? It was completely normal. It was 120/80. And after that, you have been suggested to visit one doctor. Whenever you went to the doctor's place, the doctor said that you have a mild increase in your blood pressure. It's 130/80. And you said that just now I checked my blood pressure, and why it increased suddenly? It is called white coat hypertension. White coat hypertension is like whenever you decided to go for an examination in a doctor's place, that time your mind tells you that maybe there is some problem in your body. And that thinking increases your blood pressure. And psychologists call it high court hypertension. Why high court hypertension? Because doctors, they usually wear white coat hypertension. Because doctors, they usually wear white coats. So there is mental illness and mental wellness. So what is mental illness? Mental illness is this white coat hypertension. And what is mental wellness? Mental wellness is like you have heavy throat pain and you are feeling so bad. You cannot drink water, you cannot eat, or you cannot even talk. So you visited one doctor and you explained all your problems that, doctor, I have these problems. Doctor said, okay, let me see that what kind of symptoms you developed. Open your mouth. You opened your mouth, And after that, the doctor said that, no, you don't have any symptoms. I found that you're completely normal. Why? It even happens to us as well, that whenever we are feeling discomfortable, but after that, when we went to the doctor's place, we feel okay. Because our mind tells us that we are visiting the doctor and the doctor will give me something and I will be okay within this time. So the time is been estimated by our mind. And once you reach that moment, you feel completely okay. And your body, the symptoms your body developed has been disappeared. This is called mind wellness. Your motivation should be internal. So what motivation is motivation. So why it should be internal or why it should be external? So external motivation, when people are telling you that you are good, you are well, you are doing well and everything. But if you don't have the internal motivation, then you can be demotivated anytime. Whenever you will be lack of this external motivation, you will feel deprived. The two brothers story. There were two brothers. One is very successful. He has everything a human being wants in his life, and he was happy. And there was another brother. Actually, his life was full of mess. He has borrowed a huge amount of money, and now he doesn't have the capacity to repay the loan. He's drinking every day, and after drinking, he's beating his wife. And these all things actually makes his life completely miserable. But Canadian research organization in Toronto, they called both of them. And they asked that why this difference? First, they asked the unsuccessful one that why your life is full of mess. He said, what I would be except it. Because I saw my father, he was a completely drunken guy. He used to beat my mother every day whenever he came back. And he borrowed so much money, and that makes our life miserable. And that is the thing, actually, I got from my family. So I become like this. Now they asked the same question to the successful one. that why you're so successful, whereas your brother is in a complete mess, but you're so successful. What makes you a successful person? He said, what I would be except a successful person? Because I saw my father who is making this kind of mistakes, and how come I let myself to repeat those mistakes in my life? When I have stopped doing mistakes and my life becomes successful. It's so simple. So don't blame the circumstance. You're always blaming circumstance that you're not getting this, you're not getting that, or whatever you are getting is not enough. But it's not that the thing you are getting from your life. It's your mind, how you are utilizing or how you are thinking or how you are dealing with your resources. A person who loves to eat ice cream and cake, and that person is fasting for last 2 days, and now it's time to break his fast. So one man, he brought some ice cream, butterscotch ice cream and cake. And his brain commanded him that, okay, eat those. And he grabbed the spoon and all set to put it inside of his mouth. Suddenly, his friend arrived and said, stop, what are you doing? He said, I'm eating. No, don't eat it. There's poison inside. There's potassium cyanide. And you stopped. And that man who offered you that food, he said that why you stopped? Because there is poison inside. Did you ever see anyone that who's putting poison inside of this food? No. Did you ever seen how potassium cyanide looks like? No. Then why? Why you stopped? Because my friend told me to stop. Your friend is a reliable person to you? No, actually I have caught him telling lies few times. Then still you are not eating. What makes you to stop? It's not that you don't know that your friend is not a reliable person. It's only one thing. You don't want to risk your life. Here, your life gets the highest priority. It's not that your feeling brain is not telling you that this food is delicious. Maybe whenever you will get chance, the man will go out and buy the same kind of food to eat. But now he has prioritized the purpose he has. And what is the purpose? The purpose is he has to save his life. So we can control ourselves. We can control our feeling brain. We can control our thinking brain. But for that, we need to have a very strong reason. And you have to ask why. Why we are doing this. There is a person in Bangladesh whose name is Dr. Yunus. He graduated from United States and Vanderbilt University, one of the most finest university of the United States. And after that, he came back in his country. And he started teaching in a university. At that time, Bangladesh was so poor. Bangladesh was a poor nation, very poor nation, and they were experiencing a famine. So whenever he was teaching modern economics in the classroom, at the same time, people were dying outside of his classroom. So he thought that modern economics is not needed in a country like this. So he established a model. And through that model, the poor people can avail credit facility. And after 40 years, in 2006, that model is awarded by Nobel Peace Prize. So do you think he developed that model to get the Nobel Prize? No. He developed that model to serve a purpose. Once you will serve a purpose, and if it is properly served, that will yield some fruit for you. But if you already attach with your end result, then maybe you are missing everything, the fruit and your purpose. Happiness is created in your own world. So, are you happy? It is actually my question to you. Are you happy? If you are not happy, then what is the reason behind it? Okay. Is there any object called happiness? What we can go and buy? No, there's no object. If there is such an object called happiness and we can buy it, then everyone could get happiness out of it. If you have a mobile phone, then you can talk. It's not that only you can talk by using your mobile phone. It's everyone who knows how to use this device. So happiness is not like that. It's differ person to person. There was a person whose name was John, and he died. His wife was so upset, and she was crying. Why? Because she thinks that she will not going to get the love what she got from her husband. And the son, she was also upset because no one will going to buy him chocolate and butterscotch ice cream. His friend heard this news, and his friend got upset because no one will going to accompany him while he's drinking. And the servant, when he heard this news, he thought that, now I have to find a new job. I have to spend my time on it. The neighbor, the wife said, the wife of his neighbor, she said, "Did you heard the news? Mr. John become dear to God." And at that very moment, he was watching a TV series. He said, "Oh, okay." And the John, he got a debtor who credited $10,000 from him without any written agreement. So he became so happy. So what is the reason? Because he doesn't need to repay the loan. Later on, his wife got a phone call from the hospital. And the hospital authority said that, "Okay, we are sorry, we made a mistake. Your husband is not dead. He is still alive." And the wife is so happy. Now she will get the love she wants. The son, he's also happy. Now he will going to get the chocolates and ice creams. And the friend, he has got the accompany in his drinking table. The servant, now he doesn't have to spend time to find a new job. When the neighbor heard that news, the neighbor thinks that, I'm kind of indifferent. Let me watch the TV series because my happiness is associated with this TV series. And when the debtor, he heard that news, he said, "Oh God, you gave me happiness and at the very moment you took it away. Is that the way you play with me?" So actually, it's not the happiness lies into that person called John. Happiness lies that the resilience you set inside of your brain. The wife thought that I need love. The son thought that I need butterscotch ice cream and chocolate. The friend thought that I need a company. And the servant thought that I need money. I need a better job. And the neighbor, who was indifferent, and the debtor, he was sad. But everyone's purpose of being happy and being sad was different. So we are thinking that our happiness is associated with that particular thing. But maybe your happiness is not that thing. You have to understand where you feel good, where you feel happy, and then you have to dive yourself. Otherwise, you will be misdirected. So, as I have said, that if stresses and pain is ingrained and there is no way to avoid it, then what we can do? There's only one rule. What is the rule? The rule is, don't be too attached to your outcome. If you are too attached to your outcome, that time you will feel pressured and stressed. What is your outcome? Your outcome is this girl. This girl, she has an exam next month and she is stressed. She came to her teacher and said, "Teacher, I'm so stressed because I have exam. I need to sit for it." Teacher said that, "Why you are so stressed? Because you have to work hard in this month?" She said, "Yes." The teacher said, "Absolutely not. This is not the reason of your stress. The reason is you have already attached yourself to your outcome. You are thinking, if I don't do well in my exam, then I will be bullied and scolded by my parents and my teachers. and my society will not going to extend the cooperation what they are extending now, and my friends, they will not going to talk with me like before, and I'll be ignored. That is the reason you're feeling stressed. The same thing happens to me. When I have been invited to give a speech to all of you, that time I felt so stressed. Why? It's not that I am afraid to talk in front of all of you, because I'm afraid of being judged. So once you will think about it, you'll feel stressed. That what will going to happen? Do you know the story of these two kids? Their mother is a teacher and they're not doing well in their exam. So their mother felt so bad, and that upsetness leads her to feel discomforting. So she visited a doctor, and the doctor said that, what is your profession? She said, I'm a teacher. So how many students you are usually taking care in your class? She said 40. So do you feel any stress or pressure whenever you are taking care of your students? She said, no, even I am being admired by being a good teacher. Then why you are feeling stressed whenever you are taking care of your own children? Because you already attached yourself to the outcome. You are thinking that if all my students are doing well, if my own children is not doing well, then everyone will feel that I'm not delivering well. That time you're feeling pressured, and that pressure leads you feel discomforting. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another rule. And the rule is, do not expect too much from your life. Are you expecting a lot of things from your life? Okay, then let me tell you another story. It's the story about yourself, who dreamed to be a doctor just like her. And you wanted to be a doctor from the very beginning, and you thought that whenever I will be a doctor, everyone will admire me, and my respect will increase in the society, and I will relieve pain from human body, and I will attach myself in a very noble activity. That will also bring me a huge amount of money as well. So now your entire brain is thinking yourself as a doctor, not as a person what you are. So now it's time to sit for the medical entrance exam. You sit for the entrance exam and you failed. I'm so sorry for that. So now you cannot be a doctor anymore. But your entire brain is already conditioned by thinking you as a doctor. So you hate yourself. You hate to be yourself. You don't want to be a person what you are. You want to be a doctor. It's not that you don't like the education system. It's not that you don't like that you failed in the entrance exam. It's you cannot go out from that person what you are. That is the reason you're feeling upset. But who is responsible for it? Is that the education system? Or is that the person who told you that, okay, now the admission is closed and our university will not going to take you anymore? Or the circumstance? No one is responsible for this. It's you who is responsible for it. Why? Because you expected a lot from your life. So ultimately, what I am actually trying to say, that focus on your efforts. Bring all your faculties to bear. Put in your best and leave the results in the hand of nature. Don't think that what will going to yield out of it. Just focus on your effort and be what you are. Then you will feel relaxed and your outcome will be more fruitful. We are almost running out of time. No, it's okay. So only positive thinking can ensure our inner peace. So Let me tell you that the power of positive thinking. The problems you haven't solved are making you think negatively. Whenever you have a problem and you are thinking that there is a problem, I must need to skip it, then that thing will come in your life again as a negative experience. You have been scolded by your boss. Your drunk uncle stole your bike and you haven't got over out of it. So these all are your negative emotions. But your negative emotions is not responsible for that your negative emotion is not yielded by that circumstance. It yielded because you didn't deal with the problem well. For example, you are working in a team where everyone knows how to program C++, but you don't know. But you're also a computer engineer. You have also university degree, but you don't know how to program. Then what will happen? You will be ignored in your team, and you will be the less valued person in your team. No one cares about you. So who is actually responsible for that? It's you. Because whenever you were the student of computer science engineering, that time you didn't learn it well. So you skipped your problem. So that now you're feeling that the problem is happening in your life is a negative emotion. But it is not a negative emotion. It is a problem which has been skipped by yourself. There is another quote of Jack Ma that success lies in the beneath of problem. Whenever you are seeing an iceberg, you are seeing only 1/4 of it. But it's not the smallest iceberg you are seeing is not that small. It is actually big. Whenever you are seeing a problem, don't feel afraid to solve it. Whenever you will solve it, that time you will see that there is success. It is in the beneath of that problem. Sometimes we need to step back to think positively. Why? If I have a tumor in my brain or in my eyes, and if I tell you to operate that tumor, and you are not a doctor, that time if you are thinking positively that, okay, I can do it. I'm a human being and I have all the organs, so I can do it. So do you think that it is a good decision you have taken? No. Because you don't have the skill. The same thing, if you don't know how to program C++, and if you feel that, yes, I can do it, I'm completely positive about it, then can you do it? Can you make a platform what can connect all of us together, like Wechat or Facebook? No. Why? Because you don't have the skill. So that time you have to step back and learn that particular thing. And then you have to start. Otherwise, you cannot think positively. There are 3 persons. Let's ask them that what they're doing in this construction site. So I went there and I asked the first one that what you are doing over here. He said, I'm making money in each and every hour. And the second one replied, I am helping to make this corridor. I'm helping them to make this corridor. And the third one, he said that I'm actually doing a charity work because this corridor they will use as a hospital where people will get relief from their pain. So these 3 persons, they are doing the same thing, but a person is thinking that this thing is completely noble and charitable. So if you want to be do charity, or if you want to be a philanthropist, you don't need a huge amount of money to do that. Only one thing you have to do, which is you have to change your mind. Once you will change your mind, once you will start thinking positively, that time you will see that life is full of relaxation and full of happiness. And I have said so many things in my presentation, but do you know, maybe you people also know about it, but do you people realize those things? if you really want to realize those things, then you need to do one thing. Your thinking brain must have to be very educated and full of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, then your feeling brain will direct you in a different way, and you will be misguided. So if you really want to realize these things well, then you have to study well. So finally, I want to say that study well, my friend, and be happy. Thank you, all of you. And if you have any question, you can ask me.
Now this is the question time. Mr. Elsie really did a good job in the speech. So if you have any question, please open your microphone or open the chat interface to send the message. Anyone have question?
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Ehsan.
Hi, my friend. How are you?
This is a colleague from the Gambia, a second year Masters of Zhengzhou University. I attended this seminar and I usually have like maybe to judge myself whenever I do something, but I'm very grateful to attend your seminar, and it really motivated me to be realistic, like in whatever I'm doing, to make sure I can do it and make sure that to think positively. So thank you very much for that kind lecture and motivation you give to people, you know. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who wants to ask any question?
Yeah, hello. I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Like, what do you mean when you life according to you? What do you meaning of life according to in the terms of scientific thing? I mean, if we keep apart a spiritual thing.
Actually, life, it has different meaning to everyone. But for me, life is all about helping others. Actually, this is the only one thing I want to follow. I don't want to avail a huge wealth, or I don't want to be a person who's so famous. But to help others, I want to do everything. So this is the only one rule of my life.
Yeah, the purpose of life of being in the earth, like other than the spiritual thing, I mean, according to scientifically.
Scientifically, actually, I don't want to define my life scientifically, because if you want to define your life scientifically, then the theory will keep changing. So I want to define it in a way what I believe, so that I feel relaxed and comfortable. But scientifically, I only know few terms, whatever I studied before, and as I have discussed with you people. But for me, like life is not about science, or life is not about any calculation. It's all about your own thinking.
Yeah, I have one more question also to ask you. Sorry to take a lot of time.
No, it's okay.
It's like, in this pandemic time, do you really think that after lockdowns open, most of the people will consult the psychotics and the mentor and all to relax the mind from the lockdown and all? A one person can come out of from depression by his own practice. He have to consult the psychopathic and even to come out of his depression and stress.
Yeah, actually, no, I don't think so. I don't think that people need their counseling, or they need to visit doctors. Because if they're feeling stressed, or if they're feeling pressured because of being locked down, then what will be the reason of that? The reason is they're feeling pressured to see the same thing, for doing the same thing, and they're feeling monotonous. But whenever the lockdown will be opened, and everyone will breathe the fresh air, everyone will get the chance to mingle with their friends, that time they will feel relaxed, and their mental illness will disappear. So I don't think that they need any doctor to counsel or something. Anyone else?
Yes, something to ask you. Thank you for your presentation. It was a nice presentation. So, I want to know from you, is there any units that can measure the happiness?
No, I don't think that there is any unit that can measure the happiness, because the happiness, as I have mentioned, that completely depends on your own thinking. That the place where you feel happy and where you feel satisfied is the is the source of your happiness. So there is no way to measure it. That how happy you are. A mother cannot say that she is happy because her son stood first in the exam. How happy she is, it cannot be measured. But
No.
she felt happy because of that. So I don't think that you cannot measure the happiness.
Okay, thank you. Happiness is the outcome of feeling brain or thinking brain. What do you think?
It's a balanced thing, definitely. Like your feeling brain is actually driving over here, but definitely it has to be certified by your thinking brain. Otherwise, the happiness will not be fulfilled.
So that means you are talking about thinking brain. Thinking brain, it's come from logic, but
Exactly.
feeling brain, it's just like you think that it can be good for you, but
Yes.
it can be a good test from that object.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So how to balance logic and feeling brain in the same time?
There are two ways. The thing is, like, your feeling brain, your thinking brain must have to be very educated. So whenever it has all the informations to analyze, that time you can balance well. That time your feeling thinking brain can counsel well or deal well with your feeling brain. And definitely you must need to allow your feeling brain on the board, so that both of them, they can talk, and this is how they can balance.
Uh, in your slide, you told thinking brain and feeling brain they cannot discuss, they cannot talk. So how to they balance?
No, I said that they are not good at talking with each other. They usually don't talk. But if you allow them to talk, then they will talk. And I gave one example. Whenever we fall in love, that time it happens. So we, most of the time, we don't allow both of them on board. So the thing is, you have to allow them on the board, and after that, uh, your feeling brain, it must have to be very educated, and then your feeling brain has to counsel with your thinking brain has to counsel with your feeling brain, and this is how you can balance.
Uh, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Sorry everyone, our question time is end now. If you still have any questions, please leave a message in our WeChat group. We will check it and answer it. And thank you for everyone's participation. And thank you for Mr. Ehsan's good speech. Now I suggest everyone to open the camera. We can have photo together for memory.
ভাই কেমন আছেন?
Cheers. খুবই সুন্দর স্পিচ।
হ্যাঁ, ধন্যবাদ ভাই, ধন্যবাদ। ভাবি ভালো আছে?
আছি ভালো।
Now we have finished the photo part, and anyone want to share your feedback or some suggestion to our speech? You can talk now. Okay, maybe I will be the first. Firstly, I feel really good to hear this presentation, and I write down a good saying. It's like success in the is in the beneath of problem from Jack Ma. I think it's a really good saying that make me like in a life we know we will meet different difficulties, but from this saying we can know if we put some effort to it, we can get some success. That's my my feeling. Thank you. Okay. If so far you don't have any suggestion, we can end our presentation today. And you want you want to share a presentation in the following parts, you can contact our member or or your advisor. You can be part of this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Thank you very much, all of member, all of participants.
Thank you. Hey guys, it's still live. I have to. Oh, there's some message like. Bắt đi lắm. Hey.
好的，谢谢老师。